I actually got to meet him. He did a show at a middle school in my hometown, and I went to it. I was like the only adult there, and there was just a bunch of middle schoolers.
I thought this was one of the co-op things. That's crazy.
No, it was like I was an adult. I was like 19.
You paid for admission.
And I literally like showed up to this middle school auditorium to watch this comedian because I'd seen him as a kid, and he's like infamous in my household.
Yeah.
We quote that bit all the time.
I just wanted like it to be a conversation, and there's just a camera over the shoulder.
Accept that there's people that are going to be better than you at that specific thing. So I know there's going to be someone that's better at editing.
You know, and you could sit around and say, well, I haven't started on the main script because I'm waiting for to be inspired, right? When you show up and you sit down and you go to your spot, the inspiration does come.
If I don't put my skin in the game, shed a bit of blood, how could I expect for the return I'm hoping for to be as severe as the sacrifice?
A lot of people will be like, I could never do, I have no idea how to do, and I didn't either for the most part. It's just sitting down and taking the time to learn it once, and then when you do, it's like, oh my gosh.
No, I don't have a ton to plug. My name's Jess Nabors. I have been doing comedy. It'll be 2 years in July. I like to produce. I like to do improv. I like to write. I do produce shows at senior living facilities, which are really fun. That's like my, I guess, passion project for comedy. But I like all demographics, really. But those shows are super fun. But if you guys don't know about Arizona After Dark, that is our monthly improv, stand-up, variety comedy show. It's the last Friday of every month at 100 Mile Brewing in Tempe. Super fun show. Trip's a part of it. We have a really funny and I'd say passionate group of people that run that show, so that's cool. I'm in a movie. I'm in a horror movie.
Really?
Yes, so there is a local comedian named Clay Ivy. He wrote, directed, filmed on his phone this little low-budget horror movie.
That's super cool.
It's called First Date Slaughter. It's going to be on Amazon Prime. But I don't know the exact release
Like when
date.
it's going to come out.
Yeah.
That's just going to be one we'll have to, plug in later, but that's super cool.
It's so cool. It's like a great script. It's so funny. It's very like just your typical like low budget horror home video kind of thing.
Especially because it's iPhone, it'd be kind of like an interesting.
Right? Yeah. Small cast. It's like the premise is there's a serial killer and Jonathan Mano. Do you know who Jonathan Mano is?
I think I've met him before.
If you guys don't know Jonathan Mano, he's hilarious, local comedian, but he always wears a suit. He has this like really unique look, and he just looks like the serial killer type. It's so funny. But anyways,
like Christian Bale in American Psycho, really put together.
More like disheveled.
Oh.
His character, like he'll do this lawyer character, and he's just like a disheveled mess of a guy. And with the thick the glass, like the Coke bottle glasses, and like oversized suit, facial hair. Like you would look at him. Yes.
You're like, you see him in a gas station, and you're just kind of like I don't want to be in the same place as him too long.
Off-putting. He's a little off-putting, but which is perfect for the role. So you didn't have to act at all.
And what was your role?
So the premise of the movie, it's a slasher. So it's like this guy will set up dates on Tinder or like whatever dating app it is. Set up a first date, then he stands you up, and then he's in your house when you get home from the date. So,
that's terrifying.
I know.
That's gonna ruin my dating scene.
No, it's
I don't stand people up, but it's gonna.
You better not.
I don't. I do get stood up, but it's part of being a stand-up comic. No, I'm not a stand-up. But no, it's funny. I think online dating is hard enough, but cold and flu season just wiped out my dating potential this year. Oh. I had like 5 dates get canceled by illness. And so I was like,
or at least that's what they said.
One person had like sent proof of I'm in doctor's office, like sent me a selfie and was like, hey, I'm sick for the second time in a week.
Stay away from me.
Yeah, and then the other ones, you know, I trust them. And then the last one was just like, oh, I'm not feeling this. So it was more of like less of sickness and more of sick of me.
Wait, so 5 girls, like, so like...
5 dates, 4 girls.
Okay, but like, how many girlfriends you got? Like, how many girls...
I got 5 dates canceled, and then I gave up.
Oh.
Yeah.
So how do you know the girls?
Met most of them on Hinge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. One
Were,
of them
were
was
they
like-
all first dates?
Most of them.
Okay, so how do you trust these girls if you haven't even been on one date with them yet? You just think they're nice and that they wouldn't lie?
Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, you just kind of got to accept people are telling you the truth. And I think most people are telling you the truth, or a variation of the truth to start.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to be like, everyone's lying, but also I have used many excuse to like go get out of a date.
Or like
But
if you have a
also-
sneeze, you're like, oh, I have a cold. Like, that's fine. Like,
Yeah.
like if you're exaggerating the truth, I'll chalk that up to
Yeah.
telling the truth.
That's cool.
But like at the same time, it's like, I don't know. And also, dating
Also-
apps are difficult because
Well, yeah.
texting is.
Yeah, and even so what if they exaggerated a little bit? You know, like
Yeah.
they don't owe you their life story.
Yeah. Which is a hard thing to get over on dating apps because you're like you feel an instant connection because you're like, oh, there's a mutual interest.
Yeah.
So you feel like they owe you something, but they don't owe you anything because they're a stranger on the internet. You know?
Right?
And they might end up in your house and murdering you.
Yes, we were talking about that. Yes, that is the plot of the movie. So
Yeah.
I'm one of the victims. It's
Yeah,
fun, though.
better to catch a cold than be a cold case, I would say. To tie those two together.
The call back, the circle back.
So
Yeah.
tell me about the senior, because that's relatively recent, right?
The senior citizen shows? Yeah, I've done 4 now total.
Oh, wow.
And they're like, I don't know, with like all those facilities, they always have stuff going on for their residents, you know. But consistently, the 4 shows that I've done have been like the most people I've had in an audience, you know, because the
Yeah.
bar shows are super hard to get people to, and even if you got people in there, they're not paying attention. So it's always like a good sized crowd because these people are like bored to death, you know, and they're in the same building all day every day, and so they're like really like fun stuff to go to. So they're a very, very eager audience, which is nice. So I mean, it's kind of hard because they are, you know,
Hard of hearing, or
yeah,
you know.
or they're asleep or whatever. But they're just super fun. It's always good socialization, like the
For
chatting, like just well, and for the comedians too. Like all the comedians that I've had on those shows are like, this is so enjoyable, you know, because it's just like something different, and even if they're not like haha belly laughing, like they are at least paying attention and they're like excited that you're there.
Yeah.
Which is not a common audience unless you're like doing a club.
Yeah, and even I think some of the worst crowds I've seen at AD are just like ones that are very attentive, but like just forget that they're at a comedy show.
Yeah.
And they're just like listening to your story and they just like let your jokes fall flat, you know? It's really cool to have like a good participation from the crowd, and like that's such a big part of it because I was
Absolutely.
talking to Forbes on maybe on his podcast or on just in person, and he's like, there's a point you get to where you know that would have got a bigger laugh with a different audience, and so
For sure.
it's got to be tough, but that's super cool. So like, did that come from like a philanthropy need, or like how does that come about?
I wanted to produce a show, and I was like, what would be like, not an easy show to produce, but what would be something that's like different that I could, because like it's intimidating and it's hard to just be a rando walking into like a bar or a venue and being like, hey, let me like put on a show.
Yeah.
But for some reason I was like, well, senior living facilities I feel like would be ready and willing to like have people
Entertainment,
do.
yeah.
So I literally just well, and I also wanted to start working on clean stuff. So I was like, well, this will be a way to kind of like force me to write some cleaner material. So I just composed a list. I just went on Google and like looked at places around that had like a facility with a showroom or like a auditorium, And I just called them.
Yeah.
And I was like, can I come do a show? And they're like, yeah.
They're like, yes, please, when?
Yeah. So 2 of them, I've had 3 venues total. One venue, actually 2 of the venues of the 3 have paid me to do it. One of them was free, but I mean, I wasn't expecting to even get paid, but they typically have entertainment budgets. So they're like, yeah, we can throw you a couple $100 and then I can give a little to the comedians as well. So that's always a perk too, but I would do it for free as well. I mean, that was my intent. I didn't ask anyone to pay me at first, but like I just asked if I could do it, and then they were like, "Oh, well, we pay," and I was like, "It's a win-win-win."
Not gonna say no. Not gonna say no. That's really cool. I in high school with a church group did like some. We did a bingo event with senior citizens, and we just went to like the dollar store and just got like some toiletries and stuff.
Yeah.
Just to give them like prizes.
Yeah.
And my 13-year-old self wasn't there to kind of appreciate what that's like. But like this lady won shaving cream, and it was like she like lit up like she just won the lottery.
Yeah.
And I think it was just more that like she was excited, she was doing something and stuff like that. And so like me as a 13-year-old was like, she won shaving cream, that's so funny. But like as an adult, you're like, oh, I see that this is social. This is means more than what it is.
Yeah, they don't have a whole lot left going on.
Yeah.
A lot to like live. And so I mean, some of those people really are in those facilities and have no one. You know, I think they make friends. It's better than a nursing home. It's not like a nursing home. They're like care facilities. They're like apartment buildings.
Mm-hmm.
Like the last show that I did was at Arcadia. What's it called? The Clarendelle in Arcadia, and it's bougie.
Yeah,
like,
it sounds
people
like
are paying a lot of money to live there. So it's not like laying in beds like on life support. Quite old people, but yeah, a lot of them do live in those facilities and are alone, like don't have friends and family. So it's cool to see them be able to like have a little spark and have fun, and just talking to them. I mean, when you're young, like you said, you don't appreciate
the experience they have, the stories.
Yeah. You think it's boring to talk to an older person, but now I'm like, I want to know how your life was. Like, when does this change? How does this happen? When did you start thinking about this? Like, well, I have lots of questions now that I'm like, oh, your life doesn't end when you turn 35.
Yeah, it's...
Because I'm getting close, and I need to know that there's still some joy that's going to happen.
I'm 27 now, and I realized, like, for this whole last year, I've been considering myself 28, which is basically 30. And so I'm like, I just got a whole year back. I have a whole another 28.
Yeah, there you go.
Do you want another one of these?
Oh, no, thank you. As long as you're guarding them.
I'm hoarding them.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, it's great getting experience from people. I think experience is one of the best ways to kind of, like, when people offer you advice, not taking it is just, that's happening in vain. Like, their experiences happened in vain. Like, they're trying to help you.
Yeah.
So I love hearing what people have to say.
For sure.
Tell me about, like, growing up. You're from Tennessee, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, so my hometown is Cookeville. It's right between Nashville and Knoxville. Yeah, smaller town. I think there's like 30-something thousand. It might be closer to 40 now, but definitely a lot more rural places than where I grew up. But it was pretty rural.
Yeah, that's the size of a lot of universities. Like, I think NAU's bigger than that.
Yeah.
Enrollment size.
Yeah, so that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
to think about, but I wouldn't get, like, we were pretty redneck. Not like there's definitely rednecker than us. We were like intermediate rednecks.
It's a spectrum.
Like, yes, exactly. Yeah. So like the house I grew up in was on a dead end road. We had about 5 acres that was fenced in. We had horses. We had chickens, dogs, cats. So that, and I was homeschooled. So I have 2 sisters, one older, one younger, and so we would just like do our school and then be outside. And
you're the second person, not obviously in this week that I've met, but the second person I've found out that is homeschooled, that is like extremely socialized. Like, you meet a lot of homeschool people who are, homeschool people.
They don't make it out.
Yeah,
they don't make it out.
Their life is, they're doing super cool stuff. But they're definitely like, you're like, oh, you can build lasers? Okay. And you're 17, you're going to college? Okay. You clearly don't want to make eye contact with me, and that's fine.
Yeah.
It's like, I think that's really interesting about homeschool. But like, that's really. Do you feel like that's helped you kind of become a more creative person? Having like
I
this
never thought about
own
that.
this kind of autonomy over your early on education almost.
I've literally never thought about that, but probably.
Yeah.
Like I definitely. I don't know. It is still hard to answer because I never experienced public school at
Right.
all.
Yeah. So you don't have the.
So I don't know how to compare, like how to even pretend or not, like visualize to compare.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I'm gonna say yes. Short answer, yes.
I would
I
say
think it
so.
allowed a lot more freedom, and my mom was really cool about letting us pursue things that we were interested in too, which is awesome. Like I took a creative writing class when I was younger. I took a photography class. I've done like co-ops. So we had a group of other homeschooled families, and like every Friday we'd go to our church, and the moms would do like an art class or a dance class or like a beading class, like so. And my nephew is now doing the same thing. He's taking like a woodworking class. So there's a lot of cool things that homeschoolers can be involved in. And kudos to my mom because she did make sure that we left the house and we had some independence and some socialization. I did theater and martial arts, like I pretty much did everything.
Yeah.
Which thinking back, I'm like, I did a lot of stuff. I'm really fortunate that my mom cared enough about that aspect because a lot of my friends didn't really have anything.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't go anywhere. Their parents didn't care. But I mean, most of them, these are like big families. All the kids I grew up with being homeschooled had like 9, 10, 11 kids.
That's also
families.
that's right.
So their parents are worn out. You know, they're not about to run 8 kids to sports and dance.
To 8 different sports.
Exactly.
You know?
So they just did nothing. You
Yeah.
know, so I'm pretty lucky.
And that happens a lot in a lot of other things. Like I think back to how much I did in school because you know I started in Montessori school, which is similar to homeschool, where you do have some autonomy over what you're learning and
I
passions.
think Montessori's great.
And then I switched over to public school after my parents got divorced. And it's actually funny. I think that question I asked you comes from I was in a class. I showed up late in college. And we were going to be making videos for local businesses, and one of them was the Montessori schools locally, and it was the day of that presentation, and I showed up like mid-presentation, and the lady's like, Montessori schools are different, and then she's like, welcome, and she's like, welcome, sit down wherever, and I was like, sorry, and then I sat down, and she's like, well, have you go to Montessori school? And I like raised my hand, and I'm the only person that raised their hand, and she's like, do you feel like it's made you better at school than your other students? And I was just like looking around to all these people who showed up on time, like, no.
That's so ironic.
I was like, I'm probably the worst
You should have
example.
been like, well, I didn't care about attendance. You know?
I show up when I want. Like, I don't seem like a good example.
Yeah.
You shouldn't use me.
Yeah.
But like that question, I was like, I don't know. And then it made me realize that, I have a lot more curiosity for learning than I think a lot of people do because of that.
Probably, and that's so sad.
Yeah.
Like, that's really sad. And my mom also did a lot of cool stuff with us. Like, she took us on field trips, and she, like, took us to neat places. Like, some days we wouldn't do any, like, paper school, and we'd go somewhere, and she would, you know, like, she just, I didn't really think about that as being a way to, like, encourage, like, to keep curiosity going, but, yeah, so important.
And you know what? I'm going to reconfigure my notions of childhood homeschool because everyone I meet who's homeschooled, there's some variation of it. Super
And that's
cool.
because it's most likely because of their parents.
Yeah.
And I know all parents are doing what they can, but like if you're gonna homeschool your kids, like
it's a commitment.
You still have to care. You still have to do something, and you need to like make sure your kids are still getting an education. Like it's really sad to see when the parents just do that without really, and it's typically tied to religious reasons or whatever, and that's fine too. Like that was also kind of my mom's reasoning behind it, but I don't know. You gotta make sure they're still getting every piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like there's also those who like travel the world with their kids and teach them as
Oh,
they
I know.
go.
So cool.
So cool.
So cool. Yeah.
I would love to be that kind of parent. I got to be that kind of adult first.
That's what I know. I'm like, well, how do you do that when you don't have no money? It's like when you're like dumping the piggy bank to get bread and milk, like you're not like, oh, we're taking the kids to Italy.
Yeah, someone was like, if you could go into a world where you go, and I was like, Italy, and they're like, oh, Italy's great. I've been a couple times, and I was like, sick.
I know.
That's like my
tears coming down.
that's like my motherland dream, and I'm only like 1/16 Italian, but I'm just like, oh, the motherland. So with that, do you feel like there was any kind of like hardships in that where you felt you kind of had these kind of creative outlets that helped you express yourself a little bit more, like the photography or the creative writing? You know, like was there any kind of are there any kind of ideas that come to mind for that?
Oh, you mean like what I want to do with that stuff?
Or no, like when you're so I guess going back, I'll come back to that question, but like when you started those things, did you feel like you were instantly drawn to them because you were good at them, saying. Or do you feel like you were drawn to them just because they were like an enjoyable process?
Ooh, that's also a great question. You got the creative questions.
Thank you.
I always liked writing. Like I have diaries. I was like kind of a nerdy kid. Like if I'd been in public school, like, and I don't say this like toot my own horn, but they probably would have put me in like advanced. I don't know. Like I learned to read super young.
Yeah.
I could read by the time I was like 3.5, according to my mom. But
that's pretty cool.
But I have diaries from when I was a kid, from when I was like 5 years old, and I'm writing like, dear diary, comma, indent the first paragraph, like 5, 6 years old, using like pretty close to correct like grammar. I loved grammar and like language, and like I would ask my mom for like diagramming sentence workbooks because I love
honestly way too fun for what it is. I enjoy doing a sentence diagram.
So pretty like nerdy kid, like a natural inclination to academics and like and especially the language part, not math so much.
But
never
that's
cared
really
that much about
interesting.
science, but like language and writing, grammar, etymology, that was always like the stuff that I really liked.
Yeah, it's really interesting that you bring up you asked your mom for sentence diagramming like workbooks, because when I was in college, there was like freshman students that I went to school with who went into like education programs, and that was the first time they were doing sentence diagrams.
Really?
In college, yeah. And I was like, I did that in middle school.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you did it sooner. And so it was just like, well, how have you been writing sentences before? And so like, it was just really interesting to hear that kind of disparity. So like, that is proof to the level of advanced learning that you were kind of going through in at least the English
and
grammar.
I think that some of that is really just nature.
Yeah.
But I also had the good nurture. I also had a mom who was like giving it to me and like,
supportive of that passion.
Yeah, for sure. So always liked writing. I remember doing a creative writing class in that like co-op program I talked about, and I was, I don't know, young. I mean, like that was so long ago, and I was probably it was probably from the ages of like 5 to 10. We were doing those programs, and I probably did the writing class when I was like 8 or 9. But yeah, and I've always kept like a journal or diary, and I'm not like a regular writer. It's just when I feel like it. But when I was a kid, it was like every single day. They're actually really freaking funny. So they're actually like hilarious.
Do you have one? An idea you wanted like?
I mean, I talk about how much I hated my older sister a lot.
I
talked so much shit about my older sister, and I was really mean to her when we were kids. I'm like, if I can hop up and find one real quick, I might. But
if you want to, I mean, you don't have to. I just like that's really funny to be like, Stacy's just being usual today.
Yeah, hold on. Actually, I think I know where it is. If I can get it really quick, it'll
no
be
worries.
So funny.
But yeah, I think it's a funny story, but like I don't have a lot of bits because it's also it's just a funny story.
Do you want to do stand up?
I like the idea of doing it, and like I will just randomly just like formulate different like stories with like punchlines and then I'm just like, like I don't know if this is what I want to be doing, because I think too much about the crushing feeling of failure.
Well, yeah, I get that. And also it's like I feel like you gotta really want to do it.
Yeah.
You know, like I love doing it and I really like doing it, but I just don't know if it's gonna I just don't know if it's all I want to do. You know? And I don't know. I feel like the people that are successful are the ones that it is like their all consuming passion. Mm-hmm. And I love it, but I don't feel that way.
No, not the way you feel about writing, it sounds like.
Yeah, no, I really, if I could have a job as a writer, like not any kind, like I want to be writing like material.
Right.
I want like movies and sitcoms and like stuff like that is really what I think I could write stand up too. I think I could write for comedians.
Yeah. Yeah, I think your work's great. I think
Thank you.
one of my my sister she's an older sister, so she always coached me up on what was right to say and what's not right to say in a lot of regards. And so I always used to say things like, "Oh, she's like one of the funniest girls ever," and she's like, "Well, is she funny or is she not?" I'm like, "She's funny," and she would be like, "Well, then she's just a funny person," you know. And I think you were a great great example of someone who's a funny person.
Oh, thanks.
Like a very funny person. Like the gender qualifier does not land there.
Well, respect on your sister for for that. That's cool.
But like it opened my mind to that, and like there's times where I'm like, oh no, Jess is like stealing the show in this improv sketch or something like that. Like
I do love improv. I think
it's
I like
such a good
improv
time.
more than stand up.
That's what I was telling Forbes recently, just because like there's less preparation for it. For me, that's what I like about it.
And I like the pressure of it. I like that you have to just blurt something out, and it just takes and for some reason people get less offended by improv stuff too. You know, like there could be a situation that arises in an improv sketch that's like completely like
way out of pocket.
What is going on here? Completely out of pocket, and people will love it and they will laugh. Whereas if you were to set up a joke with the same premise, maybe even the same punchline, people are like
tight around the collar.
Hesitant. Yeah, and I think it's just because they know there was intent behind it versus it's something that just accidentally we just stumbled upon this. Mm-hmm. Way funnier.
Yeah, and it feels more organic because I think they're a part of that process as well. The audience is a lot more involved in it.
Yes, and they love that. You know. Yeah, I think about this sometimes too. Like I kind of wish I'd been doing stand up like 30 years ago, 20 years ago. Just before everything was so tender. You know, and I know that if you can't care what people think, you can't care if people are going to get mad or whatever, but it's changed stand up.
Yeah.
I think everything has changed, but I think it affects stand up a lot just because even people that aren't easily offended are still more hesitant, it seems like.
Hesitant to laugh because they don't want to be seen by the other people in the room.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's one of Forbes, I think, told me that like you need a dark room for stand up so people can't like have the anonymity of their laughter. Like they don't feel like they're being watched. Mm-hmm. Because we do live in a culture where you feel like you're constantly being audited for like what your views are, and it's getting worse. Like the fact that Instagram will be like allowing people or whatever threat seems to be looming about like messages being able to be seen, like, or like what videos you've liked in messages or like what things you share versus what you like. Just goes further into that. Like, I think this is funny because this is an antiquated thought. You're not able to see that like when like a show like Tropic Thunder does blackface and you know like.
So funny.
Some people think that's like the funniest thing, and like some people think like this is ridiculous, and like you can't like I'm even tense bringing it up as a white person, but it is a perfect example of like, well, we accepted this at one point. It's funny, and they're making fun of the fact that it's an antiquated thing that was like really bad.
Yeah.
And you know, there's so much satire there that's kind of getting missed because it's like, oh, surface level, this looks bad.
Yeah.
So I can see why.
Yeah, people are just too sensitive.
Yeah.
I would love to do like a no phones show.
Oh yeah.
I just don't know if you'll get people on board with that.
Well, I heard the idea of a no phones party, and I love the idea of that.
Me too.
But then I'm like, I would show up without my phone. I don't know, but like I know I would. But like,
Yeah, just like a leave it in the Dropbox kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like for a show, if there was ever a club or a venue that would want to do it, but yeah, I just hate that it's like you have to, don't have to, but kind of have to walk on eggshells a little bit, but whatever. I think you can still get away with edgy stuff on the internet more so, just because it is more anonymous. Like you can like something and send it to a friend without a bunch of people like knowing. But
yeah.
anyways,
Going to a different point, is there a like artist or an artwork that like inspires you, or that you think like it could be a writer or some writing?
I honestly don't have a lot of specific examples, to be really for real with you. I will say, as far as stand-up goes, when I was a kid, we watched a lot of stand-up, and we would watch this clean comedy show called Bananas.
Interesting.
It was always clean comics, and there were some really funny people on there. There was this one guy named Joe B. Sad, and he did this goofy, completely ridiculous bit where he like acted out a scene from a James Bond movie, and he did like all the different characters.
I love when comedians do that.
So funny, and my little sister and I still quote that. Well, my whole family still quotes that to this day. I actually got to meet him. He did a show at a middle school in my hometown, and I went to it. I was like the only adult there, and there was just a bunch of middle schoolers.
I thought this was one of the co-op things.
No,
That's crazy.
it was like I was an adult. I was like 19.
And you paid for admission.
And I literally like showed up to this middle school auditorium to watch this comedian because I had seen him as a kid, and he's like infamous in my household.
Yeah.
We quote that bit all the time. And there are some other really good names on there too. I think was Shonda Pierce on there? There's a female comedian named Shonda Pierce who is like a clean comic, and she's hilarious. She might have been on there. And then there was a guy that does like, he's a ventriloquist. There's a lot of funny, really talented people, and it wasn't a very popular or big show. Like I think we had it on DVD. Like I think it was just maybe like 20-hour-long episodes, and I think we had them on DVD, and we'd like rewatch them. But yeah, so I always loved laughter, and my dad's a funny guy. I was always getting joke books from the library and stuff, and like, always loved making my family laugh. So, and my friends, I was always the goofy. We used to make home videos, and I would always be doing something outrageous.
I think it's funny how because I was, my friends and I would make home videos all the time when we were kids, and that was like what we would do on the weekends. And I think it's so funny how like the camera entering the household created so many people who do that. Like the home videos.
Yeah.
And to go back to like the clean comedy, it sounds like it had a formative thing on your stand-up career. And then now that you're doing it, like that desire is really cool to kind of see that circle back in your own life.
Yeah, and I was really obstinate about doing clean comedy. I was like, because it's just like a little bit of rebellion in me. Because I was raised so religious that I was like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I don't want to do clean stuff. I want to be like edgy, and I want to be like, I don't know what I.
Yeah, a little bit of a rebel. It's like it's a pink dye in your hair. Yeah.
But also, it was like my mom was like, you should do clean comedy. It's, for one, my parents are very conservative, so for one, they would love me to be doing that and not be doing lewd humor. But for two,
one of your first like really big jokes is hilarious, and it is not clean.
Yeah,
the Sinks one.
Yeah, I have some bad.
The Sinks one is hilarious.
I know.
It's not.
I know, it's very explicit. So, and I know it's like somewhat disappointing to my parents, but there's that rebellious thing where I'm like, well, good.
Yeah.
I'm who I am, but then the more that I've like heard, and the more that I've done comedy, and the more that I've watched comedy, I am kind of like, actually, like, I feel better. I feel like I get a better response and more laughter when I do clean stuff. So I guess my mom was right. As much as I hate to admit it.
It's tough.
But
I think that's part of growing up.
yeah, definitely. But yeah, I'm still figuring it out. Like I'm definitely not like a completely PG. And it depends on the show, the venue that I'm at too. And sometimes it's real easy to just fall into it too. Like you don't even really mean for something to go in like a lewd or sexual direction, and it just does. Like even with our improv practice.
That's one of the hardest things with
it's
improv.
It's hard to avoid for some reason. So, but yeah, I guess that was where it all began.
Yeah, that's super cool. I like the kind of like return to self almost, or like a return to the grassroots. I do think that there are like Jim Gaffigan is one of the funniest comedians just out there, and I'm pretty sure he is nothing but clean.
Yeah.
And it's great when you do come across a clean comedian, because again it approaches so many people.
Yeah, you don't lose anybody.
And it's like it's kind of touches more on that core of humor, which is like it's supposed to be like inclusive, like or just like
relatable to everybody.
Yeah, relatable. And like I heard this thing the other day that like the people who laugh when things get really hard generally are the more resilient people. Like the more resilient you are, the more you laugh at like the curves you get through life. And I think if you can do that in a clean way, it's like almost just the cherry on top.
Yeah.
Just like another step forward. So that's super cool that you're doing that. Are you writing anything?
I'm always writing.
Yeah.
I can't not be writing. Like I'll literally jot stuff down at any point in time, just because I think everything's funny. Like I don't know. Like
do you find that that's difficult? Like I have been kind of getting incorporated into this friend group, and I make jokes all the time. And one of the ones recently is I saw this girl. We were all out at downtown, and she just looked like she wanted to go home. And I was just like, "Hey, how you feeling?" And she's like, "I'm good. I'm like not too messed up. What about you? On a scale of 1 to 10, where are you?" And I was like, "Well, I'd say I'm an 8, but I think some people would think I'm a 10."
Yeah.
And she was like, "I'm gonna need you to tell me what you think I was asking." And I was like, "I know what you were asking. I answered a different question.
I was just being
I was
silly.
just a joke." Yeah, and like, and she was like, "Not everything has to be a joke." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Did you know this girl?
Yeah, we hung out like
I
several
thought
times.
Like a stranger.
No.
I was like, she sounds like a bitch.
Yeah, no, this is someone I knew, and I was just like, and so she's like, not everything has to be a joke. And I was like, yeah, but like life's more fun when it is.
Yeah.
But it's also like you got to know your audience. But do you feel like that's the case for you? Do you feel like it's kind of coming from like a place of resiliency?
I don't know, because I don't feel like I've really been through a whole lot of hard stuff. I think I've had a pretty easy life.
That's cool.
And so I don't know if it's. Everyone has their own kinds of like trauma and things like that. And there are some things that are. Sometimes when I look back, I'm like, okay, yeah, actually that was a little bit more messed up than I thought. But yes, I do think a little bit of is resiliency, but not a lot of it for me personally.
But you just choose to see the humor in things.
Yeah, and I just think I just think we all take life way too serious. Like, but I do sometimes now that I've started doing stand-up, I do sometimes get in my own head about like cracking jokes. Because I get a little bit, and maybe this is just from smoking weed, but I overthink a little bit sometimes, and I'm like, oh, do all my friends think I'm annoying? Are all my friends like, I wish Jess could just shut the fuck up sometimes?
Those are the worst thoughts. Those peek into my
head
all the time.
And I know that that's not, I know that they don't.
And even if that is the case, like even if you're annoying someone, you're allowed to do that.
Right. I just don't want to be.
Right. Well,
annoying.
you obviously don't want to be annoying, but like, I don't know.
I don't want to be that girl that everyone's like, Jess thinks she's so funny all the time. She can't be serious. Like, I try to have, balance. Sometimes I'm like, I need to chill.
Yeah, and that's where I'm learning to be too. I'm like, that's kind of why it was nice to hear that resiliency thing, because I was like, okay, good. There's this. I know it's a coping mechanism, but like, I can also be less jokey sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Is there anything that you are excited to be working on coming up, or anything that you like look forward?
I always look forward to the Arizona After Darks. I'm gonna write one of the sketches for the next show. We do little 1-page improv sketches, and those are super fun. But yeah, I just don't know how to get myself. I mean, I have my own business now, so I'm working for myself now. So I'm starting to transition to where I can restructure my life a little bit, to where I can spend more time on the creative pursuits. But I mean, owning a business is still, it's almost worse. Even though you do dictate your own schedule, you really have to be like available. It's hard for me to turn it off, and cause when you have a job where you go in and you clock in and you clock out, it's like, that's my work time and this is my me time. But when you own the business, there's it's hard to separate and to get my time where I'm not like, I gotta be doing this, and that I don't like that. So I'm like, I just need Matt to get rich so I don't have to work anymore. But,
yeah, we all need that.
Yeah, it's I just don't know how to. I think Forbes and the whole group there with AZ After Dark are some really good people to know, and Forbes has given me a lot of insight, and he pushes me to get to where I want to be, which is cool. You need people like that, and people that aren't just pushing you to get somewhere, but who actually know how to help you get there. Because Matt's super supportive. He's always encouraging me to write and do shows and he always tells me too. He's like, one day when I can do it, I want you to be able to do whatever you want to do. So that's great and beautiful. And then knowing people like Aaron and Forbes who are kind of ahead of me and can be like, hey, these are the steps, that's cool too. So yeah, it's all about who you know.
It was great because I told Forbes that I wanted to do stand up, and he was like, well, run me through some of your ideas. And then he immediately was like, punch this up, drop this down. This is how I'd structure it, make a callback, and that is a type 5. And I was like, wow, okay, you just that goes back to the advice thing where it's don't let their experience be in vain. He's been doing all of the hard work, and he's trying to help you jump 3 steps. Yeah. So using that to your advantage is always going to be a great position to be in.
Oh yeah. But yeah, and again, not just with stand-up, with, I don't know, how do you get to where you're a career writer, you know?
Well, and what does that look like? And that's a interesting question that always gets me is when people are like, what do you want to do? Or what's your 5-year plan? And I'm like, what's my 5-minute plan?
I'm not I am not like that.
Yeah.
I am not. I mean, a year ago, I was thinking about moving to Austin or New York City to immerse myself in comedy, and now I have a great partner and we're figuring out what we're gonna do. It's just I don't I'm way more go with the flow, maybe too go with the flow, but I'm not
there's a balance.
Yeah,
there's a balance, but I'm very go with the flow as well.
Also, if I at 33 were actually where I thought I would be at 33 when I was 23, I'd be probably miserable. Or even younger than that, because again, going back to how I grew up, all my friends got married and had kids pretty young. So I was like, oh, I'll be married by the time I'm 25, I'll start having kids, and I'll...
It's really easy to say that when you're 15.
Right. And I thought that was my path. So if I were doing that, and if I were where I thought I would be then, I would be miserable. So that's why I don't worry too much about where am I going to be in 5 years, because I'm going to be happy. Yeah. It's cool. I'm going to listen to myself and just trust that, life goes how it is supposed to go.
That's just great advice.
So, yeah. I'm just not that kind of person. I don't know.
And you don't have to be. Yeah. That's what's really nice about it is and it sounds like that's a very creative way. I was telling someone recently that for me it's less of designing the life I want and more of just finding it along the way.
Yeah, that's how I feel. And again, it's almost I wish the desire to go back with the knowledge that you have now is oh man, I wish I figured this out sooner. I wish I'd done this sooner, but he's gonna bring in every toy he has.
He's got to show me. He wants it to be on camera.
Yeah. He's like, hey guys, this is actually my YouTube channel.
This is an unboxing video.
These are the people I brought in today.
We'd like to thank our sponsors, Chewy and Fresh Pet.
And Wishbone. Oh Oh.
So you were saying, oh man, you
What was
really
I saying?
stole the scene.
What was I saying?
You were talking about,
Not having a 5-10 year plan, but I don't remember specifically what I was getting at. Oh yeah, just you can't drive yourself crazy being like, oh, I wish I'd known this sooner or done this sooner. Like, I'm just glad that I try to learn from every phase of life that I'm in.
well, and it's so fun. It's so easy to say like, oh, I wish I could go back with what I know now. And I think that's one of the funniest things. And I'm like, if I went back to 15 with the information I have now, I would be probably the same 15-year-old because you're chock full of hormones. You can't make a decision because your brain is just like so wired on all
I
that
think
stuff.
I would, if I went back to 15, knowing what I know now, I think I would be a lot meaner to people.
Good.
Or I'll say this, I think I would have been better at setting boundaries. That's been a really hard thing for me to learn.
Yeah.
I'm not a
boundaries person
I'm
either.
a people pleaser, pushover, boundary refractor. I don't know if that's a word, but
Refractor element.
retractor.
Oh, okay. I see.
I think that's what I was trying to say. Like, I'll put it out there and then it'll be like, well.
I like to say I have paper or cardboard boundaries. Like
Yeah.
they're really good until you get them wet, and then it's like they just dissolve. Yeah,
You just blow them over.
yeah. It's like, oh.
Here's my boundary. Like a dandelion.
Or like I've been single for probably like 7 months now, and I still leave the toilet seat down. I live alone. It's just me. I don't need
That's
to
just
leave the
good
toilet
manners.
seat.
That's
Yeah,
just
it's
staying
just good
prepared.
manners.
That's just staying
Sure.
prepared for,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, sure. That's what we'll
My
call
new
it.
roommate leaves the toilet seat up.
That. Oh,
If you're a man and you live with a woman,
that's
do what
asserting
Tripp
dominance. I'm just kidding.
that's weird.
No, it's no, but it is funny because like being a people pleaser is also like one of those things where you're like, it's such a successful bad habit because people like it's so rewarding, but it's always rewarding from the wrong people.
Yes, and it is rewarding, but just as much as it's rewarding, it is, I don't know, creates more work for you as the people pleaser. Because
Yeah.
people expect that from you all the time. you
No,
know?
yeah,
And
when I say rewarding, like it's like you get benefit for doing something that's bad for you. Like it's it like you're saying it's more destructive than it seems because you're like getting this dopamine or the serotonin hit of like, oh, I made this person happy. But at what cost?
At what cost? Because now they're gonna walk all over you.
Yeah, there's been several times in my life where I've given someone just a casual comment that was a criticism, and because I am who I am, they like break out in tears or like they like crumble, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. What I just like. That wasn't that. And they're like, why are you just mean to me? Like, you're so nice to everyone else, but you're so mean to me. And I'm like, that was just a very like.
Was this an ex-girlfriend or?
No, it was just like it was a girl, but and that's also something I'm learning. It's I don't necessarily always have the best language when talking to women. As in, like, I'll say things that I think are more blunt than, or I don't realize how blunt they are. So yeah, that's enough about that. But like,
like, give me some examples.
I can give you an example. It's a horrible example. I still don't see the problem in this.
Okay, great. I can't wait to hear it.
So I went out to a bar for my birthday, and I invited my friend and invited his friend, who was this girl who he was interested in, and I was trying to help him.
Okay.
And we all go to this bar, but like the whole night she was just kind of like really making it about herself. And like I said, we were going out for my birthday. So I was like a little peeved about this, but there was a point, and this moment got so bad that I don't remember what she said to make me say this. All I remember is what I said and then her crying. Which was, I said, oh, no, I get it. Like everyone else, you're motivated by your insecurities. And then she just started crying, and I was like, oh, what? I thought that was just like common knowledge. We all do that. Like that. That wasn't a shot at you. We all do that. And she was like, that was so mean. And my friend was like, okay. I didn't know that's where the night was going. And so yeah, it kind of just like sullied the night. And I think it was definitely like there was a little bit of angst in my heart because I was frustrated because it was supposed to be my night. And we made up, and it was fine. But yeah, it's like one of those things where I'm like, oh, this is just a totally normal statement, and it's not. That's a really
That is a tricky one because, well, how old did you know this girl?
I think this was probably like the fourth time you hung out, third time.
I don't know. I
It's
mean,
upsetting. But
me-
every girl I told that story to from that point on, the second I said, "Oh, you're driven by your insecurities," I get it. Every one of them went, "Damn!" Exact same.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it is like if like a lot of people are guarded, and so that's something that most people need to hear from someone that's like close to them. I think
Yeah.
like that people don't want to be called out by like someone they don't know that well, or
Yeah.
like be given that criticism by someone that they really
Right.
aren't super comfortable with. But yeah, I mean, as far as crying, I don't think she needed to cry, but
Everyone processes
yeah,
differently.
yeah, for sure.
I'm not. Crying's a real tough one for me. It breaks my heart every time I see someone cry.
Oh, me too. I'm a sympathetic crier, and I cry easy. I cry at everything.
I don't. I'm emotionally shut off.
Really? So wait. So how do you feel when you're around someone who's crying?
I feel the pain of it.
Yeah.
Like, and the empathy of like, oh my gosh, like you are hurting. I'm so sorry. How can I help? And like wanting to help in that moment. But yeah, I only cry at very specific things, and it's very rare, unless those specific things happen. Family dynamics get me a lot. But yeah, there was a point last year where it was like, I need to cry because like I haven't cried in months, and I just feel it like welling up inside me. But it also felt like I forgot how to cry. Yeah, it was a weird moment.
Cannot relate.
Yeah, and so I was like asking friends for like sad movies to try and like jumpstart it, and
You
my
can take
friends
shrooms.
could do that.
I always have a good cry when I take shrooms.
Interesting. I used to cry a lot as a kid. I think that's why I don't cry a lot anymore. Yeah. But enough about me. Wow, you're really this is the first time it's ever been flipped so much on me. Other than your therapeutic skills to be able to counsel podcast hosts, what is something that you find was really hard to start in your creative journey, but looking back on it has been one of the biggest things to help your creative journey?
Another good question. I really, even though I've been doing things that I would consider creative for a long time, I haven't really put any effort into it, or like been like, hey, maybe I could pursue this as like a career until I moved here and I started stand up.
Yeah.
Because I've again like always been writing here or there, like I scribble little poems or just thoughts or whatever, but I've never been like, oh, I can actually, like, I'll put it this way. My parents are both very much work ethic people. My dad has worked a blue collar job forever and still does, and just a work, like, you put your head down, you work, and you work hard, and you pay your bills, and you're good. Like, even though my parents were always supportive, there wasn't a lot of like, well, hey, what do you actually want to do? They were just very kind of like, oh yeah, whatever you're doing is great.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Which is great, which is good. But there wasn't a lot of like, but wait, actually, why don't you? And I guess I should say this too. I taught preschool for 4 years. I did education as my degree.
Okay.
So, what a ham. But yeah, so I did really like almost 6 years of undergrad, because I did community college first, and this whole time that I was in school, I was working full time, paying my own tuition. Like, it's always been like you work.
Yeah.
Pay all your bills, have no debts, like pay cash, like work and pay.
That work ethic, yeah.
Yep. So went to college, and then I did get a teaching job. So when I was teaching, I wasn't thinking about anything else really.
Yeah.
So yeah, all the creative stuff's just always been hobbies, little side time fillers.
Well, I think that's more important. than having it be like your livelihood. When I talked to Forbes and interviewed him, he was like, when you want it to be your life, like when you want it to be your career, you have to wake up and treat it like your job. Like you have to clock it.
Which sucks. Which kind of feels like it's gonna suck the fun out of it.
Yeah, and like that's why I think a lot of people who I talk to about this are like, there was this person who was like interested in doing it, but they were like, I don't know if I'm right for it, and they kept saying that, and I was like, no, you're totally fine. Like you're a florist. Like you do a creative, beauty-driven thing. Like there's aesthetics to it. There's actual technical ability, and creativity isn't just like artistic ability. It's actually just being able to think in an innovative way.
Right, doing something different or from a different perspective.
And then artistic is like being really skilled at a creative, or being good at a creative skill. And so like they do go hand in hand, but it's like, I think the beauty of creativity is that it's like it's a very grounding experience, puts you in the moment, and it really makes you in tune with yourself. And that's what I love about it. That's why I want to talk to people about it. So I love that you, even when you were kind of doing the teaching thing, or you're working hard, it sounds like you've always had like journaling. I think is a huge one.
Yeah.
I love journaling. But you have these little, and like I think it's so cool that you're having these like little musings throughout the day where you're just like, oh, that's a bar. Let me write that down. Or that's
all
a poem.
the time, almost to the point where I'm like, God, I can't just like enjoy my life. I have to write everything down, but. And a lot of times I go back to things and I find them and I see them in my notes or whatever, and I'm like, what the heck was I talking about? Like I could probably read through my notes on my phone right now and you'd be like, and I would not even remember my thought process when I wrote that. But like 30-40% of it is like, oh yeah, I remember that. I'm gonna dive into that a little bit more. And it can be anything. It can be like I have a whole list going. Like part of me wants to just focus attention on like social media and making like silly TikToks. And because I get really good feedback from my friends when I do those. So it's like, well, maybe that's something I can do, and I can take whatever ideas I have for like stand up and make them into content. But
you see that a lot too. You see like there are a lot of people where I'm like, oh, this person's really funny. They make really funny Instagram reels, and I'll follow them for that. And then I'm like, oh, you're a stand up. Of course, that makes sense now.
Yeah.
But yeah, the feedback part is so important. I was talking for my day job, I was asked to do this like lunch and learn thing, and they wanted me to talk about this project we did, and I was like, all right, my main point is the importance of feedback, because like it was a translation video, like we were translating a video that already existed, but it was into a language I don't speak. It was Spanish, so like so I had to rely on my network of people who do speak Spanish to give feedback, and that was the easiest way to like make sure that we were on the right path.
Yeah.
And like our voiceover artist, it was for new mothers, the content, and the voiceover artist was like, in the audition was like, hey, I'm a new mother, and this really connected with my soul. And I was like, that's super cool. And then throughout the process, she was like, oh, it's really funny that I'm in a tug-of-war battle.
I know, that's so cool. You don't care.
But, no, he doesn't care anymore. But she had said in the process, she's like, I think the previous script was better. And I was like, that means the world coming from you, because you're the audience that we need. And so, like, hearing that, I'm sure is just, like, really nice to be like, okay, this is something where I can get some feedback, and, rather than, like, writing out jokes and being like, oh, in 3 weeks I'll test this out.
It's so hard, dude. Stand up is hard. It's just so much work to get such little
reward.
Not even just reward, like tangible like product. Like you can have, for every 20 minutes of new material I write, maybe 1 or 2 minutes of that is really solid.
Yeah.
So it's like so much of it is just filler and fluff, and like to have those actual good chunks and those good bits, it takes a long time.
And I think that when you asked if I would do it, I think that's one of the things that
you know how you probably have a grasp of what an undertaking it is.
Yeah, well, because like I'm a very like verbose person. Like I talk a lot around the point rather than getting to it, and that was the main note. Forbes was like, oh, you can never get into a joke too late and out of it too early. Like you could just like set up punchline. That's gonna hit with the audience. And I was like, that is not that is not my strong suit.
Yeah.
And so like I could imagine that refinement process of taking like, oh, this was a funny story, and here are all the points of that story, and then cutting through like, well, I don't need this point, and I don't need this point.
But also, I like a story. I like comedians that tell stories because I also don't want to just feel like you're telling jokes to me.
Yeah.
Like I want it to be, this is real life experience. This is a situation, or even if it's something you made up in your head. As long as there's like a picture to be painted. I also don't think it's enjoyable or like feels authentic when it's just when you can tell someone's just running through bits. You know, like I want them all to be stories that kind of cohesively like flow in and out with each other and kind of relate, and then you can tie them all back together.
Yeah, no,
and that's so hard. Like that's where when someone who's a good writer is where you can tell that they're a good writer, not just like a good joke teller or not just even just a good joke writer, just like a good writer in general. But like I hate it when people do. I'm sure I do it too, but I hate it when people have a set or a bit and they use like the same words multiple times. And like you said that already. I don't know. I know what you're saying. Very nitpicky.
Whenever I'm writing, I have like an old English teacher's voice in my head who's like, "Hey, you already used that word 2 sentences ago.
Same.
You can't use that again."
Yeah.
So I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Where it's like you need the diversity of like language.
Yeah, and your audience picks up on that too, even if they don't realize it. You know, like something's always going to be funnier and hit harder when it's new and they haven't heard it yet.
Yeah.
Again, why stand-up is so hard, because you're always on a show with other comedians and you don't know what their material is going to be. So if you're fourth in a lineup on a show and you've got your set prepared and then someone before you has a similar joke or even something that's about the same topic, yours is automatically going to get less of a laugh because someone already talked about that. So it's hard. It's super hard.
There's this idea that I've been kicking around for years that one of the stand-ups did. It was just like the idea of like, anytime I get a compliment from people, it always comes with the you're actually this.
Yep.
Instead of you are this. And I was like, you were just like underestimating me. And I always made this joke to people, like, you ever notice how like when someone says actually, it means like it takes away all the like wind out of the compliment sails.
Boy, I understand that because I get told all the time as a female comedian, "Oh, you were actually funny." I get that all the time. And people think it's a compliment. I'm like, I mean, I still take it as one and I say yes, thank you. But it is like, you were actually funny. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, when I would get it in school, the context was fair because it would be the people I was cheating off of would be like, "Oh, you're actually smart. Why are you cheating off
That's
me?"
That's different. That's definitely a different context.
But I got like, "You're actually funny," or "You're actually like athletic." Is one that I get.
Nice.
Like it's surprising that I am actually athletic.
Looking at you, didn't think that you would be.
Yeah. And so which it gets to the point of like, you're actually funny for a girl is wild, but like, you know what some people think is a compliment.
It's the same kind of thing as like because I drive Uber and sometimes I have men that like, when I get them to their destination and park the car, they're like, "Good job." What? Good job. Thank you, sir, for your approval. I have been driving a car for 18 years.
Yeah. And you do have a little bit of a set about that, which I think is pretty good. But yeah, that's why it's wild what people say, and then again, I'm saying things to people as well that are wild. So.
But what? Yeah.
School, NAU, go Jacks.
Nice.
And it was funny because I didn't know what I wanted to do when I went to school.
I didn't either.
Yeah, you're just told you have to.
Yeah, well, really, I didn't want to, but I tell you, when I was 17, I got my first job when I was 16. It was part-time, but I had enough free time because I didn't have a lot of school my senior year, and that was probably my junior year, but, my mom was like, "Okay, when you're 16, you can get your license, but if you want to go do anything, you have to pay for it. You have to put gas in the car, and you have to pay for it." So I had to get a job.
Yeah.
So I eventually, I think when I was 17, got a full-time job at a donut shop, like a local donut shop, and I worked 7 to 3 Monday through Friday. And I was like, I'm just going to enter the workforce. I don't want to go to college.
Yeah.
No one in my family, I had one cousin that went to college. No one else in my family went to college. My parents were like, you don't need a degree to be happy and whatever. I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. And also just kind of thought I'd meet someone and get married and whatever and be a mom. And yeah, I worked there for about 6 months and met a lot of older people that had nothing going on.
Yeah.
Didn't go to school. They were just working this dead-end job. They had kids young, and not to say that they weren't happy people, but it's just not all of them were. Some of them were sad, and I was just like, dang, I got to make something of my life and not just wait around and like rely on a husband. Good thing, because I'm 33 and still not married. So, but yeah, so I literally that fall, or I think it was a full year. I think in the next spring maybe I just started like your basic classes at like a community college, just some basic stuff to get me started, and then eventually I was undecided for a while, and then I went into early childhood education, so I did preschool to 3rd was what I'm certified
Easy way to meet a
teach.
dad.
True.
I could see the motivation there.
Yeah. But no, I decided I liked kids. I used to not like kids, and then we started having my cousins around a lot. They were younger, and we spent a lot of time with them. And yeah, I was like, kids are cool. I like kids. My cousin, she was a big reason. She was the only cousin, the only one in my family that went to college that I am aware of. And she was doing early childhood ed, so I wanted to be like her, and so that's what I did. And then I did a master's in school counseling. And so I just decided.
The 6 years. That's a. Because you needed a master's, right?
I didn't need one, no, but they offered me a graduate assistant job, which means they paid my tuition. So they paid for my master's, and I worked as a graduate assistant in the early childhood office, and they paid me like $750 a month or something. And I had an office, like, it was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was doing, so the field that I got my bachelor's in, I worked in that department, so I would go do like observations of practicum students, and I graded papers, and I would like teach the class if the professor couldn't make it or whatever. So, I mean, I got some really cool experience, and then that looked great on my resume, and I was very academic. Like, I published a research paper in undergrad, and like all this, I was like very much invested in the education field. And then, my first year of teaching was COVID. So that was just like a train wreck.
Yeah.
And it just like, and that was it was so weird and such a crazy time. And then every year after that was weirder and harder, and I was like, I can't do this.
And everything you had learned up until that point did not prepare you for what that was. I could
Definitely not. I mean, it was the behavior aspect of it, just because these kids were so delayed socially, so we had a really hard time with just behavior and not enough resources. I mean, our behavior referrals tripled in 1 year.
Yeah.
So it was like we're drowning.
And that I could easily see that. My first thought was the development of the kids' behavioral, because like they're just like looking at a screen, but there's no like I feel it when I do presentations. I'm very much like I have to be in the room with the people, get that feedback we were talking about, and when you're on a Zoom, you're just kind of like disconnected.
Well, yeah, and then imagine that you're trying to actually do a preschool lesson.
Or imagine,
yeah,
or be a preschooler learning how the world works, and you're just like watching a video.
Yeah, it just made no sense. It was just silly.
Do you feel like that could have been some experience for, like, learning how to teach people early in development has kind of helped you in some of these creative writing things now, where it's like once you understand how to teach people like basics, you can probably do things a little bit easier along the way?
I never connected those things either. Very good question.
Sorry.
No,
sorry to alarm. They're actually really good questions.
Yeah, I'm so surprised, so shocked. No. Get away from there. You didn't made a mess. Wait, repeat the question.
Do you feel like, do you feel like the experience of early childhood education being your focus for so long helped you to create more engaging writing and jokes and some of those creative pursuits you're doing now?
Honestly, no.
Interesting. Okay.
Just because, like, maybe the schooling did. So when I was actually having to, like, write lesson plans, you'd have to write, like, okay, here's the overarching goal for this lesson. Here's 3 objectives of how I'm going to get to that goal. So it has to be very explicit, like, okay, this is the standard or the goal that this lesson is centered around. This is how I'm going to get there, and you have to, like, write out the exact steps and everything you're going to do. So that kind of plays into, I feel like, joke writing a little bit. But then let me tell you this: once I actually got into the classroom, a lesson plan, baby. A what? Nobody's writing those.
Yeah.
Nobody's writing those.
Yeah.
Not in preschool.
I would imagine at all. I went through public school. Like.
Yeah, it's more of like, actually it probably relates more in the way that you just have to, every single day you're just jumping in and swimming your way out of it.
So
more
probably closer to improv.
Yes, it's more like, what is today gonna be like? Well, yeah, now I'm kind of figuring out how they correlate, because you've got to plan. When you plan for preschoolers, you have to over plan. Like, if you have a minute of time where you don't know what you're gonna do next, they know, and they sense it, and they jump right in and cause chaos. So you have to, and if you start getting into a lesson and they're just completely not engaged, you have to abort and, like, quick go to something else. So that comes out in stand up a lot. Like, I can be doing a bit and I can be in it, and I can tell that it's absolutely failing, and I can make a joke about it and say, well, I'm gonna abandon this bit and move on to something else. We did that, my assistants and I, my co-teachers and I did that all the time. We would start a lesson that we'd planned, because we, have our day going out, we're going to do this, this, this. And we get into something and we have it all set up and we start doing it, and they're just absolutely not in it at all. And we're like, hey, instead, let's play this game.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, yeah! So, like, you have to be quick on your feet. You have to be quick thinking, and you have to be able to read the freaking room. I do think that is the biggest correlation.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing you've taken with you.
Because it's public speaking still. It's engaging an audience. It's keeping your audience engaged and happy. It's like you're putting on a show in there every day for these kids, so that they're not like...
Yeah. I mean, even adults, like, there's some meetings you get into as an adult. You're just like, this person wasn't allowed to talk for too long.
I think that's why some comedians struggle too, is because I know so many comedians that have great material, they're great writers, but they're not engaging. They get up there and you can tell they've rehearsed their jokes, and you can tell by the inflection in their voice and everything that they're reciting it, right? And they also can't read a room and tell when they need to, like, switch it up, like, go a different direction, do something else. Like, there's a lot of people that lack that part of it, despite the fact that they have really good material.
Yeah.
But it's like the delivery has to be there too, and the engagement.
The crowd is just as big a part of it.
Yeah.
Well, this has been spectacular, and I think you're a great example of exactly what I want this to be about. It's just, like, again, people who find things that they're interested in, and it fills their cup.
Yeah.
Because, like, so many people are like, it just crushes me when people are like, I'm not wired that way. I'm not a creative person. I'm like, no, you just haven't found your medium. Like, you haven't found your thing.
Well, and I think, too, people put it in a box of, like, oh, if I'm not a painter or a dancer or a writer, then I'm not creative. I think people have it's gotta be artsy-fartsy. Mm-hmm. But like you said, you can be creative and be a freaking computer nerd. Like, it's in everything.
Well, and, like, talking to Matt yesterday, I mean, everything he does, it sounds like is creative. Mm-hmm. Like, he's just, like, an insanely creative person. And I think everyone is, like, I will talk to people and they'll just be like an accountant that's like really into cycling, but then they have to build the perfect bike. And then it's like, oh, well, I have to get like these spokes, or I have to get this gear, and if I get this gear with this chain, then I can get like this much drag, and then it's that obsessive like need to kind of, you know, push it further and innovate it. And that's why I like the difference between like creativity and art, because I do think art is really what I care about, is like the expression, but like I don't think people, you know, connect with that, because then it gets into that I'm not a painter, I'm not a dancer, I'm not a writer, and so it's like, no, just find something that makes you like feel present and feel connected, you know?
Yeah.
And I think you nailed that on the head today. So
Thanks.
yeah, and then if you have anything else you want to plug now that you've thought of it, or
I guess maybe my business. I do have if anyone needs a chauffeur.
Great driver, gets lots of
great
compliments.
driver, 5-star Uber rated driver.
5 stars.
5-star rated driver. But no, I do. That's what my company is. Is outside of Uber, we do private luxury transportation. So black SUVs for parties, for corporate events. If you want to just feel fancy one day, get driven around.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. Well, and then see us at Arizona After Dark or Extraordinary After Dark. That's another show we do together. And then there was one other thing I wanted. I was going to ask. Do you have kind of like a creative philosophy or anything like that?
My creative philosophy, I think, is just do it. What you want to do. Just start doing it. I will say this one little funny thing. My friend Lena, some of my girlfriends came to visit me 2 summers ago, and her and I sat out there and we were just smoking, hanging out. Well, there was another girl out there with us too, Vic, but they were asking me about the writing process and about comedy or whatever, and they were like, how do you know what to talk about? And I'm like, oh, well, when I notice something that I think's funny, or I think about something that I think's funny, I just write it down. Or if I have a thought that I'm like, oh, that's nice, I'll just write it down. And my friend Lena was like, I wish I could do that. I wish I could be like you. And I said, you can. Just do it. Just do it.
I just said I write things down.
The only difference is I'm just doing, like, if you want to do it, if you think of something and you're like, oh, I wish I were the kind of person, maybe that's my philosophy. Just pretend that you're the kind of person you want to be, and then you're that person.
Yeah.
You know?
Fake it till you make it does not exist.
No.
You are doing it.
You're doing it. Yeah. Yeah. That's why I've never understood imposter syndrome. I don't understand what that is. Like, unless you're just a liar, unless you're a con artist.
Yeah.
But a con artist wouldn't feel that. You know, I think it's sad that we do feel that. But it's like, I don't know. If you want to be the kind of person who does that stuff, then just start doing it. Just do it one time, and then you'll be like, oh, I did it. And then you'll just do it.
Yeah. And then you've done it, so you can do it again. And like that's the thing is, like, I think getting started is such a big part of it. Is like so many people are like, when I retire, I want to just like paint on the coast or what. It's like, well, you know, you could practice painting now.
Yeah.
You know? And so, and then what if you get to your retirement age and you find out you hate painting? Your whole life was built toward this fantasy that you've never tried.
Now what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think just getting started is one of the things I love to tell people. Just do it. I love that.
Yeah.
So thank you again. I think it's been great, and thank you for being so gracious, Bo. You're such a gracious host.
Thanks for destroying the floor. It's okay.